Good morning and welcome. I'm Tracy Strading, Director of the Michigan Assistive Technology Loan Funds at Michigan United Cerebral Palsy, and I'm happy to introduce Aimee Sterk, the Program Director at Michigan Assistive Technology Program at Michigan Disability Rights Coalition. Aimee's a woman with invisible disabilities and has been working in the aging and disability community for over 20 years. She started her career helping people transition out of nursing homes and progress to policy and program development to support community living using assistive technology. This morning, Aimee will provide us with an overview of the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, including resources and devices available for demonstration and short-term loan. I'm going to ask everyone to please add to the chat some information that we need to collect. Could you please put your county where you live, and if you identify as a person with a disability, a family member of a person with a disability, or if you're participating in a professional capacity, to the chat. And because we're going to have the chat as we go and ask people to put that information there, if you want to put your questions in the Q&A box, that will make them visible so that I can share them with Aimee as we go. So if you would put your county, I'll do mine first so you can see what it looks like. And I'm going to turn it over to Aimee to start with her presentation. Thank you, Aimee.
Thanks, Tracy, and thanks, folks, for doing that. That is data collection that we need for our federal funding. So I super appreciate that, just so that we can show who we're serving and which counties we're covering. And it's exciting for me to be here with you all today. I was thinking that I think I have known or worked with Tracy for probably 20 years, and we go way back as far as helping people live in the community of their choosing and getting supports they need to live in that community. So it's exciting to be on with Tracy and to share with you all today. I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm going to put in the chat how you can access the resource guide for this presentation too, that has all the links. Actually, I'm going to put that before I share screens because it will be hard to do otherwise. So this is a link for the resource guide. And feel free to contact with me for more questions, and my email is in the resource guide as well. For accessibility purposes, I will be reading what's on the slides and then also describing it in case there's anyone that doesn't read or has a visual disability or other disability that makes it difficult for them to access images. So this is going to be an overview of the Michigan Assistive Technology Program and also exploring AT resources. And again, my name is Aimee Sterk from Michigan Disability Rights Coalition. And on the slide is a picture of a woman using a wheelchair holding the hand of a child. So just want to say a little bit about me. My name is Aimee Sterk. Again, my pronouns are she, her, and hers. My email is aimee@mydrc.org. And on this slide is a picture of me and my two kiddos. Like Tracy said, I am a woman with disabilities, and I've been working and living in the disability community for more than 20 years. And I do welcome your questions throughout the presentation. So please do put them, I think Tracy said, in the Q&A, and then Tracy will read them to me. I like stopping and answering questions as they come up, as they relate to what we're looking at, versus waiting till the end. If at the end we'll have talked about that information way before. So please go ahead and put them in the chat. Tracy, I believe participants can't unmute in this platform. Is that correct?
Yes, they can raise their hands and then I can unmute them. I'm happy to do that.
So if that's more accessible for you to speak your questions instead of putting them in the Q&A, if you would raise your hands, then Tracy can unmute you. I want to make sure that you can ask the questions that you want to ask in a way that works for you. And the picture on the slide is a light bulb with a thought bubble around it. So some of the things that we're going to cover today, just a basic get on the same page of what is assistive technology, and then information about the Michigan Assistive Technology Program and some examples of some of the devices we have in our lending library that you can try and borrow. Devices for daily living, devices for youth, devices for vision, recreation, mental health, and neurodiversity. We have over 1,000 devices in our lending library, so this is just an overview of some of them. And then resources for learning more about assistive technology. And though Tracy is the expert of this, I just have a couple resources for funding, but definitely contact Tracy for more resources for funding for assistive technology. And the picture of this on the slide is of a young woman working with some stickers on an art project. So for MDRC, our mission is that Michigan Disability Rights Coalition cultivates disability pride and strengthens the disability movement by recognizing disability as a natural and beautiful part of human diversity while collaborating to dismantle all forms of oppression. So our work is intersectional, and our assistive technology work is also intersectional. A little about assistive technology. Assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment, software, or app that is used to help people with disabilities, including older adults, do what they want to do. We say that technology can make things easier for everyone, but for people with disabilities, AT opens up possibilities. And we have some pictures on the slide of mostly all low-tech assistive technology devices. There is a rainbow pill sorter, a woman using a walker with wheels, a rubber grip for a doorknob that would make it easier for some people to turn a doorknob, and then a hand holding a rock, and that rock is smooth and oval shaped, and what you do with that is you pass that back and forth from your hand to hand, and it that bilateral stimulation can help with calming, especially helpful for myself as someone who has PTSD. And the Michigan Assistive Technology Program. We provide access to assistive technology information and services in Michigan, and we serve the entire state of Michigan, anyone residing in Michigan. We are by people with disabilities and for people with disabilities. Our staff serves people of all ages, birth to death, and to request a demo, just give us a call at 800-578-0280, or you can log on to mymdrc.org and select the Assistive Technology Program, and there's a way to request a demo on there. This is a picture of the Michigan Assistive Technology Program logo. In addition to demonstrations, we also loan our devices. So you can try out, say, a magnifier in your home or in the community that you might use it. We bring the devices to you. We can meet you at your home or in a place in the community of your choosing. We also provide trainings like this, information and referrals. So if you call us or looking for resources, we can look those up for you. And we provide training and technical assistance to partners and with partner organizations. So I'm hoping there's an easy way to do this, but I always like to ask, what is your favorite piece of assistive technology, either for you or for someone you serve? I have two of my favorite pieces of assistive technology here. One is a dishwasher. I have chronic upper back pain and I really love to cook, but cooking and doing all of the cleaning up afterwards really exacerbates that pain. So dishwasher is a really great piece of assistive technology for me. And then the other picture here is of an iPhone, and I have some trouble with memory loss and organizing. So I use my phone for all kinds of different things, like taking notes in the calendar app with reminders for meetings and appointments. So those are some of my favorite pieces of assistive technology. I'd love to either read in the chat, or if you raise your hand and unmute, I'd love to hear what your favorite pieces of assistive technology are.
Okay, before anybody else gets a chance to jump in, I will say that my favorite, I bought myself a foldable power chair that I can use when
Nice.
we tour, like a museum, things where I wouldn't be able to go that far. So it's made a huge difference in my life. I love it so much. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That sounds super handy. Does it fit in your car pretty easily? Is it?
yeah, the best part is it weighs, I think it weighs 52 pounds with the batteries in it, and it
Wow.
folds up. It'll go in the trunk of our car. I had a little bit of trouble with the trunk of the car getting it over the hoop, but in our other car, it's really easy to slip it in. And you can roll it. You can actually treat it like luggage at the airport. So it folds up like a suitcase and then rolls. So it's a great thing that I'm privileged to have. So
Does it, sorry to ask all these, how far can you get, like how far can you get on a charge on it? Pretty.
Well, it says technically that it can go 22 miles, but I found it depends on the ups and the downs.
Sure.
And that kind of thing. So it doesn't go quite that far, but it'll go quite a ways. I mean,
Well, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Tracy. I'm excited to hear other people's favorite pieces of assistive technology. I see Susan is here. I bet she has something to share from her work in looking at Tech First for Michigan too. Something favorite of hers. Looks like there's a hand raised. Here's Susan's hand is raised. Tracy, if you're talking, you're muted.
speak now.
Is that better?
Can hear you. Yep.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. Actually, I was going to say something that we use personally,
Okay.
house, which is, I don't know the name of it, but it's a type of jar opener, because both I, as an older person, and my son, who has muscular issues as well as IDD, can't open jars anymore. And so it sits on top of the jar, and you press a button, it's battery operated, and it encloses onto the
Oh yeah, and it turns
it, yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't work for everything, but he's slowly learning how to use it. So I'm looking forward to the day he can independently, get his food ready.
Awesome. We have those in our lending library, and we did find that if your jar is glass, it works way better. If it is more of like the plastic of a peanut butter jar, it can like crush the jar instead of opening.
Right. I haven't tried it on peanut butter, but I could see that.
Thanks for sharing, Susan.
Sure.
Tanya's asking for a link for that in the chat. I will, if you email me, Tanya, Amazon does have them, and they're called electric jar openers. So they have ups and downs in manufacturing, and sometimes I would definitely read the reviews on Amazon, because sometimes some of the manufacturers of those have made not as effective jar openers. But you can look for jar opener, electric jar opener on Amazon, and it will come.
I'm going to try to get your resource guide here into the chat, Aimee, so that folks can take a look at that also.
I will put that in again, sure.
Okay, all right.
Looks like Nancy says the SpeakSee software for instant captioning. That is cool. My iPhone has instant captioning on phone calls now too. There definitely can be some errors, but wow, is that really helpful? Oh, Susan says she bought the jar on Amazon too. Anyone else with a favorite piece of assistive technology? Well, hopefully I'll show you some other assistive technology that will get you interested and excited, and find some new favorites too. And share screen again.
Jeffrey's saying that his hearing aids are his favorite. So
Are such important pieces of assistive technology. And I know that's a top category that Tracy helps people get loans for because they can be very expensive. Thanks for sharing, Jeffrey. All right, so I'll talk about some of the assistive technology for daily living that we have in our library. And if you go on our website, we just redid our website. I think Tracy's familiar with that process. That is not so very fun, but we have some of the items in our inventory on our website, and we are constantly adding to that. So if there is something that you want to try that you've heard about that is not on the website as available for assistive technology, please still contact us. Chances are either we have it, or because you're interested in it, that means other people will be interested too, and that we can acquire it and then have it in our lending library. So some of the pieces of AT for daily living that we have are this liftware device that is in the top. It is like a built-up spoon. It cancels tremors. So it only cancels tremors of certain sizes. So that's why it's really important to give it a try before you purchase it. If your tremors are too small or too large, it doesn't work. But there's a medium amount of tremor that this can help you spoon or use a fork and get the food to your mouth and cancel the tremor so that you're not splashing it all over yourself. So you get more of the food to your mouth. And that actually was designed by like an engineering student out of U of M, and they're now operated out of California. We have several options for compression stocking aids. This is called the Steve, and it has two long sturdy handles and like a cup that helps you put a compression stocking on. We got a lot of feedback from folks that use compression stockings and how difficult those are to get on. So we have some variety of options depending on what your body needs and what your body mechanics are. We also have what's called the Panini Eatsy. So there's two pictures of that here. It's a hands-free eating device. And the picture in the bottom left is a telescoping plastic shelf that you can raise to the height based on what the user needs and place food on it. And then people can independently eat with it by being able to, if they have limited or no use of their arms, being able to eat off the shelf that is raised up to their mouth height. On this item too, you can connect a napkin so that people can wipe their face. You do have to be able to turn your head some. So we got this originally because one person was really interested in trying it and it did not work for her. So we're looking at other options. She wanted to see if it was an option, an alternative to the robotic feeding assists that are more like $3,000 or $4,000. This is more in the $300 or $400 range. There's also a picture in the center of a woman using part of the Panini Eatsy, which is again a telescoping piece that then has kind of like a windmill, but on its stomach. And you place the food on the windmill piece, and you can use your chin or your head to turn the windmill, which then would turn the food and be able to possibly eat independently. And then
so I'm sorry, we have a question about the compression sock aid.
Yes.
They're asking if it could also assist with removal of the sock.
Yes, so some of them do have both a doffing and donning capacity. So yeah, that can all, getting them on is hard and getting them off is hard. We actually have one called a doff and donner, and it's a cuff that you put on. You put the stocking on and then slide it up your leg. It's a gel cuff, and then to get the stocking off, you flip the stocking onto that gel cuff and then pull it down your leg. Again, though, like that's his finger strength. So if you have dexterity or finger issues, then that might not work for you. So again, a good one to try before you buy. Were you saying something else, Tracy?
Nope, that was it.
Oh, okay. Thought I heard something. I feel like we have 4 or 5 compression stocking assist devices that for different body needs. So we also have a picture here out of a cookbook that we have available that is a visual cookbook. So for people with reading disabilities, this can be a really great way to be able to cook what you want to cook, but use instead pictures. And there are words on the pictures, but you can use the pictures to guide you. And then we have another visual cookbook that is entirely symbols and color coding and color coded measuring cups and things that go with it. I worked with a couple who moved out of the Coldwater Institution years ago. And at that time, the ARC had an entirely visual cookbook, and they go to church every Sunday with a potluck, and they make chocolate chip cookies from the visual cookbook. So it's gonna be a super cool, handy way of cooking what you want to cook to bring to your potluck. And these are some examples of some of the youth assistive technology we have in our inventory. Again, we have hundreds of items, and we have a brand new, just on board youth assistive technology specialist. So this is a picture of a weighted blanket on the bottom left. In the center is a switch adapted toy. This is a dinosaur that blows bubbles that we can attach to a switch. So if you have someone that uses the switch for controlling things, you can control toys with switches. The Echo Dot for kids, which there's lots of things that the Echo and Alexa devices can do to help with anxiety, with planning your day, with scheduling, with timers, and they have the kids version available of that. We have the Angel Sense, which is it's a tracking device, can help with if people have children that are eloping, to be able to find them. And then this is called the Mightier in the bottom right, which is an app that teaches exercises for deep breathing and other things that you can do to calm your body down, and it connects to a video game, and you play the video game, and the video game gets more difficult if your heart rate increases, and teaches you how to decrease your heart rate and calm your body, and then you do better at the video game, which sounds like awful to me, but for the kids that have tried it, I get anxious doing any kind of video games, but for the kids that have tried it, they really have said they have learned a lot of different things to help calm themselves down when they need to calm down, and to use it like as a way of playing has worked really well for them. Again, these are all available to borrow and try. And then we have some higher tech vision AT items. My colleague, co-director Kelly Blackwell, has a vision disability and heads up our vision assistive technology demonstrations. And we have the Orcam MI and the Orcam Read, and these are devices in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. One of them, the Orcam MI, kind of does the same things as Google Glass, where it can describe your environment and things like that. And the Orcam Read, you can hold it like a pen, but have it read signs and papers to you. And we have these available too, because there are lower cost devices that might work for you that you can compare and contrast the Orcam MI or the Orcam Read to. And then we have a lot of assistive technology devices for recreation. We really looked at the gaps in access to recreation in the state of Michigan. So there were lots of places we found where people could do adaptive sports, including biking, but not a lot available as far as e-bikes. So we've got a great inventory of e-bikes of different sizes and shapes. Here on this slide on the bottom left is a TerraTrike, which is a recumbent bike, and it's actually made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So it's a local product to Michigan, and they have an e-assist available for it. We have that available to buy or to borrow and try. We also have pictured here a Trek mountain bike that's an e-bike. We have devices for fishing, for camping, for ice fishing, for hiking, for rock hunting, for bird watching. We're really looking at the recreation that people in Michigan want to do that's not already covered through like the adaptive sports groups in Michigan that do an excellent job. I also have pictured here the Rio Mobility Firefly. We have the Firefly and the Dragonfly. The Firefly attaches to the front of some standard wheelchairs and turns it into a power chair. But we have found that there are a variety of chairs that the clamps just don't fit. So that's again another device that you would want to try before purchasing. That's a $3,000 to $4,000 device as well. But if you usually use a wheelchair and if you have Medicare or Medicaid and you're only allowed to get one every, 5 years maybe, but would like sometimes to be able to have some power to get farther or faster with the things that you like to do, that might be a good option. The Dragonfly is a power assist that hooks to your chair that is, what's it called when you, it is hand cranks instead of foot cranks. So it's like it adds a hand crank with power assist to your wheelchair. We also have many items in our inventory for gaming and for crafting. So this is just one example. We had an adult foster care home approach us saying that their residents really wanted to do diamond painting, but the gem painting that they could find had just tiny gems that wasn't working for their residents. So we did some research and found that there are some diamond paintings available with large gems. And we have assistive technology devices for sewing, for crocheting, for paper cutting. We have Cricuts available for doing art with, there's so many different options with a Cricut that you can make art with. And then lots of high-tech video gaming, assistive technology, and then low-tech gaming as well. So card shufflers, card holders, dice rollers. So whatever it is that you're passionate about for recreation, we have assistive technology for that. And if we don't have it, like I said, please let us know. We like to add to our inventory for things that people really want to try. We also have assistive technology for mental health and neurodiversity. And we have a really nice variety of items for that as well. The picture on the far left is actually of my daughter who is autistic, and she loves, these are originally designed as camp hammock chairs, but we have them inside our house, and they are just a great swinging AT device. We have a sensory swing in our basement, but for many people, attaching a sensory swing to your ceiling is not an option, whether you rent or you just don't have a setup for that. Plus, sensory swings are kind of expensive, like in the $70 range. This camp chair is available at Walmart and it's $20. My older child uses swinging as a calming support for their dysregulation. They're also autistic. My daughter, however, finds that it ramps her up. So we talk a lot, we use the autism level up materials to talk about when you need to ramp up and when you need to ramp down, and finding a way for your body to regulate to the atmosphere that you're currently in. So you can use hammock chairs for depending on your needs and your how your body wants to use them. We also have a picture here of a kiddo using one of the weighted blankets, and a picture of a sleep bar called the Sauna Sleep. We have that available to borrow. That's another example where, so I have insomnia, a lot of my colleagues have insomnia, and I find that listening to calming podcasts helps me fall asleep. It helps me get out of my own head and my own anxiety. However, for this device, when I borrowed it and put it under my pillow, I could not hear it. And many of my colleagues could hear it, but we did find that it's kind of an age difference. My colleagues closer to my age could not hear it through our pillows, but my other colleagues that were younger could hear it. So again, that's something you're going to want to try. You don't want to spend $70 on a smart speaker that you can't hear. We also have apps available to try. This is a picture of the Calm app, which does have a subscription feature. So it would be something you'd want to give a try before signing up for. There's also PTSD Coach, which is a free app that the Veterans Administration actually has put out that has many similar features, but helping with mindfulness, meditation, addressing symptoms of anxiety or other mental health symptoms using an app is an option. And then I have a picture here of an echo show, and we have those available also to try. You can do so. They're like more than 10,000 scripts and things that you can do with an echo show. But one example that some people don't know about, you can open show and tell and have something in front of you, and the show can read it to you most of the time. Does make some errors. It can also, if it's an Amazon product, read like barcodes and tell you what you have. So if you have a vision disability and you're holding a can and you want to know if it's peas or corn, it does a fairly decent job of opening show and tell and telling you what's in that can. It can also tell you what the weather is, have your calendar. I have a weekly injection that I have to take, and I have reminders on my show. You can use your show or just your Echo Dot to control devices. I have coworkers with physical disabilities where they tell, I'm gonna mute mine, tell the A lady like turn on my lights or brew me some coffee. There's also now the Alexa Care Hub, which is now for a fee. I believe it's $20 a month, where you can do some remote monitoring and supports for a loved one that you don't live with. Like it can tell you when they woke up and started their day or their first routine of the day. You can agree with that person if you can drop in on them and be able to remotely operate the camera and check and see how they're doing. They have human backup if there's emergencies, like you can attach different devices and things to see if someone has fallen or if there's water flowing or things like that. So they continue to expand what you can do with the Alexa devices as far as environmental controls, remote supports, and entertainment too. You can watch your favorite shows on the show. You can have it play music, that kind of thing. Just a couple more examples of some things we have in our MI-UCP lending library. Again, it's more than 1,000 devices. We have an 8-in-1 multifunctional desk lamp. So if you're having any vision disabilities and need additional light, there's different settings on that to help you see what you want to be able to see. We have this hands-free holder for smartphones or tablets that is swivelable and moldable to bring the device to the height that you want. It can be operated on a table or around your neck. We have all different adaptations for binoculars and for spotting scopes for hunting or bird watching. And then we also have assistive technology for parenting. We, as people with disabilities, can have children, and some of us do and want to have children. There's many pieces of assistive technology and devices that help us as people with disabilities parent. One example is this watch with a remote video monitor for your kiddos. And we also have resources for learning about assistive technology. We have an email list. We post a lot on our social media, and we have monthly Tech Tuesday trainings. And then I wanted to show you a couple of websites that are particularly helpful if you want to learn more about assistive technology for you or someone that you support. So our National Technical Assistance Provider, the AT3 Center, supports all of the Assistive Technology Act programs, which Disability Rights Michigan has the Assistive Technology Protection and Advocacy program, and then UCP has Assistive Technology Alternative Financing, and then we are the State Assistive Technology Program. So there are programs in every state and territory in the nation. So there are 56 assistive technology programs and support programs. And the federal funding has provided for the AT3 Center to have resources for exploring assistive technology. So on this website, they have it broken down by what kinds of assistive technology do you want to explore. For example, we'll go to environmental adaptations. They tell you the what and where and who uses and why you might want to use environmental adaptations, some examples of environmental adaptations, some links to YouTube videos about environmental adaptations, and a podcast that INDATA does. They have covered so many topics of the INDATA podcast. And then they cover the three main areas defined under the federal act for using assistive technology. So education, employment, and community living, and give examples of environmental adaptations and controls in those three settings. And then some solutions for those. So any area of your life that you're looking at assistive technology, would be happy to help you with, but also if you want to do some exploring on your own, this is a really great website for that. With extra help and case studies and ideas to get you going. And then I wanted to talk about the unified listing. So this is information from 14 different databases around the world on assistive technology. And I use their power search function. Pull that up. Not fully supported in Safari. Okay. This is looking like it's working to me. So you can search for assistive technology in different categories on the unified listing. And again, it will come up using databases from around the world. So for example, here they have hearing, planning and remembering, seeing, reading, understanding, communicating, writing, and then they have input and controls and other. So let's take a look at other. They have one called Feeling Safe in My Environment. They will then pull the assistive technology from these different databases that is currently available for whatever you select on that side. So there's a call blocker, there's some location trackers, some sensory calming apps and Chromebook options. There's a camera here. I really like that it pulls from all these different databases of current products, and then you can click on the product and learn more about it. There used to be 2 different AT clearinghouses that US, I think AT Act funded folks provided, and those have disappeared. So this is great and currently up-to-date listing of assistive technology devices. It does not have as many as those previous databases did, but many of the things in the previous databases were out of date. So it's probably okay that they've finally been taken offline. And I hope that this continues to grow, and just wanted to be able to share that resource.
A very specific question. I don't know if you'll know the answer, but the question is, are the GPS location trackers waterproof?
So I believe some of them are. My coworker Aimee is more familiar with some of the GPS tracking options. I don't know if Angel Sense is or not, but Angel Sense is one that we have in our inventory. I believe there are some that, yeah, I believe there are some that are, because then you can, with someone's permission, have it on their body and it doesn't have to be taken off. So that would mean that they would be able to shower with it on and things like that. So give us a call. We can do some checking on the ones we have available, and then other options as far as like how waterproof and where those options exist. I know there are waterproof personal emergency response buttons. So I am confident there are waterproof options for trackers. A good question. And links to these resources are in the handout as well. And they're just a few funding resources, because a lot of times we talk to people about, like, look at all these assistive technology devices that are available to you. And they're like, okay, great, how do we pay for them? So we always talk about the Michigan Assistive Technology Loan Fund, the Bellows Fund, and the Mini Loan Fund, and Tracy, you are connected with Tracy, so she can help with all of those. Those are some funding resources, but also waiver programs. So if you are getting community-based supports, Medicaid funded community-based supports, the waiver programs like My Choice Waiver and the habilitative waivers specifically have assistive technology as fundable supports available for people to live in the community. And Disability Rights Michigan operates a program if you are getting barriers to getting funding for AT that you need, and you participate in one of those programs, where they can support you to advocate to get your assistive technology covered through waiver programs. Insurance can cover some assistive technology, including Medicaid. Michigan Rehab Services can cover assistive technology if your assistive technology is employment related. If you are working with a child at a school age, their IEP will even have right in it that you've considered assistive technology. Just had an IEP for my kiddo last week, and we definitely talked about the assistive technology that they will be using. And then there are also USDA rural sources for funding. They provide funding for things like environmental adaptations to your home or apartment. And different communities have community development block grant funds, especially for environmental adaptations. And just want to make sure that if you would like to try out these items or request a demonstration, please contact us. Again, it's info@mymdrc.org or Aimee, AIMEE, at mymdrc.org. And our 800 number is 800-578-0280. And our website, mymdrc.org, you can select the Assistive Technology Program tab on our website. Any other questions or comments? Things that you want to try? I can put that link back in for the resource page that has, our resource has links to each of the devices that I showed too, so.
Okay, I also want to say, when you were talking about resources, I want to remind people that if their family member or they themselves receive services from community mental health, when you have your person-centered planning meeting, assistive technology is appropriate to talk about in that setting. When they give you your budget, when you have that meeting, and by the way, do you ask for your budget if they don't give it to you? One of the things you can do is talk about where you'd like to have assistance, and you can advocate for yourself for AT to be included in that. So it's just one of my having come from that background, one of the things I don't want people to forget about.
Absolutely.
Okay, so any other questions? Has anybody not responded to the please putting in your county, your how you identify and your capacity for attending today? If you haven't done that yet, if you would, I would very much appreciate. Does anybody have more questions that they would like to ask? I want to give people the opportunity to raise your hand or add questions. I do have a comment. This has been fantastic. Thank you, Aimee, is the comment. So that's great. Anybody else? We've got plenty of time. So if you have a question, I encourage you to just jump in there and don't be afraid to ask. I know she covered things very thoroughly, but I'm always amazed as many times as I've watched you present. I always learn something. I always learn something. It's so great.
It's the cool thing about assistive technology is they keep increasing what's available. Like our needs are pretty much the same, but they're improving ways that we can meet our needs. So there is usually something new to share that we have. Intrigued by the watch baby monitor. Yeah, that could be so helpful. It also has a flashing light. So if you have a hearing disability, it can let you know your baby is crying. So there's super helpful ways to parent with a disability.
That's great to hear, because the support in parenting is so important in every level of life, and people with disabilities often are not getting the supports they need in that area.
Yeah.
So really important point. If anybody else has any thoughts, please dump them in. I see. Thank you. I enjoyed the presentation. Great information and resources. And again, if you'd put your county and where you're attending from. And I just want to thank you, Aimee. I am always pleased when you come and share. And like I said, I'm always amazed that I learn something new when I think I know a lot of stuff. So thank you so much.
So glad.
Yeah, and we appreciate y'all attending. I want to let you know that next month, Kelly Blackwell is going to do, of the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, is going to do a presentation specifically on low vision tools.
Awesome.
That you are all invited to. So looking through the lens of low vision will be presented on Thursday, June 8th at 10 a.m. on the next occasion that we're all getting together. So I invite you all to join us for that June 8th at 10 a.m. And it looks like I have a question. Okay, so the question is, I'm working with someone that has limited physical mobility, including her hands and voice. She has money to spend, and we're looking on getting a tablet and stylus she can attach to her hand. Any advice on a tablet, text to voice, or anything like that?
Absolutely. So we have loaners of iPads, and we do have Android tablets available, but frankly, Apple devices have kind of been at the forefront as far as access and assistive technology. So we have options available for it sounded like voice was a problem, but setting up voice control to see if that might work for her. Setting up, we have styluses, everything from ones that Velcro to your fingertip. So if you have fingertip use, or big chunky ones. So if you don't have fine motor, but like a bigger one might be more easy to access. And everything in between as far as styluses and joysticks to access the iPad. So my coworker Abby that does gaming also helps with switch access to the iPad. Lots of different ways of accessing the iPad. So oh, yep. And I was just in Montcalm County, so we definitely serve Montcalm County. And we're hiring an AAC professional, so we're getting there on that. So I am confident that we could come out with an iPad with lots of options for access to try. And we have some programs for borrowing iPads for longer periods of time too, if the person qualifies. It's called an open-ended loan. And I'm actually sitting just outside of Grand Rapids right now, so we definitely serve the whole state. And we do have some options available for AAC, and we partner with other organizations. For example, Grand Valley State University has a language lab, and some of their speech language pathologists work with us to help people identify AAC that will work for them. We definitely have access to the iPad related to AAC. We don't have available Dynavox or other higher end AAC devices, but we can connect you to resources for those as well.
So I want to state, just because I always do this, that we and the Michigan Assistive Technology Program in general take a very broad view of self-identified disability, and we also don't require any
Documentation.
paperwork to prove anything. If you believe the device will work for you, I do encourage people and generally ask people to try it through the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, simply because so many of these devices are very expensive. And as we work to fund it, I do want to make sure it will work for you. But if you say to me, this is assistive technology for our family, or for me, that's all I need. I'm not an expert on every level of what works for people. And because of that, it's a very broad view and it's self-identified, just so you know.
We're the same. Yep.
Okay, anybody else have any thoughts, questions, ideas to share before we wrap up?
I thank everyone for your time and attention, and thank you, Tracy, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and great questions, great excitement. Happy to share our devices.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you all for coming. And with that, we'll give you back the rest of your day and hope to see you here in a month on the second Thursday at 10 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.